Asteroid Impact. Imagine spending billions of dollars building cities, highways, and entire civilizations only for a giant space rock to arrive uninvited and immediately cancel everyone's plans. An asteroid apocalypse begins when a large asteroid crashes into Earth, releasing more energy than humanity has ever produced. The impact can create firestorms, tsunamis, and enough dust to block sunlight around the globe. The dinosaurs experienced a version of this event, and unfortunately for them, there was no comment section to complain about it afterward. Nuclear war. Humanity spends centuries advancing science, medicine, and technology, then decides to use that technology to erase itself. A nuclear apocalypse starts when countries launch nuclear weapons on a massive scale. Entire cities can disappear in minutes, while radioactive fallout spreads far beyond the original targets. Even survivors may face food shortages and freezing temperatures caused by nuclear winter. It remains one of the few apocalypse scenarios where the threat is not hiding in space or science fiction. It's sitting in storage facilities, waiting for someone to have a very bad day. Zombie outbreak. Nothing says end of civilization quite like your neighbor suddenly trying to bite you. A zombie apocalypse usually begins with an infection that transforms people into aggressive creatures driven by instinct rather than reason. As the infection spreads, governments collapse, supply chains fail, and society breaks down. Ironically, the zombies often move slower than the people making decisions during the crisis, yet somehow they still win. Global pandemic. A pandemic apocalypse starts with a disease spreading across the world faster than anyone can contain it. Air travel, crowded cities, and global trade help move the illness from one continent to another. Hospitals become overwhelmed, economies slow down, and daily life changes dramatically. Unlike movie monsters, diseases do not need dramatic speeches or evil plans. They simply exist, spread, and let humans argue about what to do next. Climate collapse. This apocalypse arrives so slowly that many people spend years debating whether it is arriving at all. Climate collapse involves rising temperatures, stronger storms, droughts, floods, and shifting ecosystems. Unlike an asteroid, it does not provide the courtesy of a dramatic countdown. Instead, it quietly turns today's unusual weather into tomorrow's normal weather, while humanity continues discussing whose responsibility it is. Supervolcano eruption. Most volcanoes are content with destroying nearby areas. Supervolcanoes prefer thinking bigger. A supervolcano eruption can launch enormous amounts of ash into the atmosphere, reducing sunlight and affecting climates worldwide. Crops may fail, temperatures may fall, and transportation can become extremely difficult. It is nature's way of reminding humanity that despite all our engineering achievements, the planet occasionally likes to press the reset button. Artificial intelligence takeover. After spending years teaching machines how to think, humanity suddenly becomes concerned when the machines start thinking. An AI apocalypse occurs when artificial intelligence becomes powerful enough to operate beyond human control. The danger may not come from evil intentions, but from goals pursued with extreme efficiency. If you tell a super-intelligent machine to solve a problem, it may solve it in ways nobody expected. History has shown that humans are already very good at misinterpreting instructions. Giving that ability to a machine may not improve things. Robot uprising. Why settle for digital problems when you can have physical ones too? A robot apocalypse imagines autonomous machines turning against humanity or pursuing objectives that conflict with human survival. Factories, transportation systems, and military equipment could all become tools in the crisis. The scenario is especially uncomfortable because humanity would essentially be getting conquered by its own appliances. Alien invasion. An alien apocalypse begins when a civilization from another world arrives and decides Earth belongs to them now. Since their technology would likely be far more advanced, humanity may discover that being the dominant species on one planet does not mean much on a galactic scale. Movies often portray brave resistance movements, but realistically, the situation might resemble ants attempting diplomatic negotiations with a bulldozer. Solar storm. For most of history, people looked at the sun and thought it was life-giving. Then civilization became completely dependent on electronics. A powerful solar storm can damage satellites, disrupt communication systems, and overload electrical grids. Suddenly, millions of people discover that modern life becomes surprisingly complicated when every screen stops working. Some may even be forced to remember directions without GPS, a challenge few are prepared to survive. Resource collapse. This apocalypse does not require monsters, aliens, or giant explosions. It simply asks what happens when essential resources run out. Water shortages, food scarcity, and energy crises can create competition and instability on a massive scale. Civilization depends on countless systems functioning smoothly. Resource collapse is what happens when those systems start failing one after another, like a line of dominoes that nobody thought to secure. Biological weapon release. Some people look at naturally occurring diseases and decide they are not dangerous enough. A biological apocalypse begins when engineered pathogens escape or are deliberately released. These organisms may spread rapidly while resisting treatment. The frightening part is that such threats do not require alien technology or cosmic disasters. They only require humans combining intelligence with remarkably poor judgment. Nanotechnology disaster. Nanotechnology promises incredible advances in medicine, manufacturing, and engineering. Naturally, someone eventually imagines the worst possible outcome. In the classic scenario, self-replicating nanomachines consume matter while endlessly creating more copies of themselves. A tiny problem becomes a planetary disaster because the machines never learn the useful skill of stopping. Humanity has enough trouble controlling social media algorithms. Self-replicating microscopic robots would probably be even harder. Gamma ray burst. A gamma ray burst is one of the most powerful events in the universe. If Earth were struck by a sufficiently strong burst from space, the atmosphere could suffer severe damage, and life would face serious consequences. The most unsettling aspect is how little humanity could do about it. There are no emergency meetings, no evacuation plans, and no heroic last-minute solutions. The universe simply sends an overwhelming amount of energy and expects everyone to deal with it. False vacuum decay. This apocalypse is so unfair that it barely feels real. According to one theoretical idea in physics, the universe could suddenly shift into a more stable state, rewriting the laws of nature as it expands at the speed of light. Nobody would see it coming because the change itself moves faster than any warning. One moment, everything exists normally. The next moment, the universe has updated to a version that did not bother checking whether life was compatible. Heat death. After every battle, disaster, invasion, outbreak, and catastrophe imaginable, the universe may still have one final ending prepared. Heat death describes a future where stars burn out, energy becomes evenly distributed, and nothing significant can happen anymore. No explosions, no monsters, no dramatic final showdown, just an unimaginably long cosmic fade into silence. After all the chaos humanity worries about, the universe's ultimate ending may simply be boredom on a scale beyond comprehension.